Jacob. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm Erin, and I'm an occupational therapist. Do you know what OT is? No,
No.
that's okay. So, what I do is I want to help you to be able to succeed as best you can in school. So, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about um, what you like about school, what you don't like about school, what you're good at, what maybe you could use some support in. So, if we could start off with what areas do you think you're successful in school?
Um, well, I I'm good at soccer at school.
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
play on the soccer team, but it's hard sometimes
Sure.
and I am pretty good in gym class and I am also in a history class and I like to learn about history.
Awesome. You said that sometimes soccer is hard.
Mhm.
Could you talk to me a little bit more about how it's hard?
Um, I can just get frustrated sometimes, and
Hmm.
it can be hard getting along with my teammates sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, that can always be a little bit difficult. So I'm hearing you say you like soccer.
Mhm.
What other things are you interested in at school?
Um, I like history, and I like science.
Okay.
I'm in a environmental science class that I
Fun. I'm glad that there are some things you like in school. Um, Obviously, school takes up a lot of your day, so it's nice to have something that you like to do. Okay, so can you talk to me a little bit about your home? So, like, who do you live with?
like. I live with my two moms and my two sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have an older and a younger sister.
Sure. And what kind of things do you do at home? Or what kind of activities do you do at home?
Um, I mostly just hang out in my room. Sometimes I play games on my phone or my computer, or
Mm-hmm.
I have an Xbox that I like to play.
That's fun. I know a lot of kids that like to play, or a lot of high school kids that like to play Xbox. It's a big thing that they like. So that's fun. Can you talk to me a little bit about like how school has changed for you over time? So right now you're in high school. Can you talk to me a little bit about how it's gotten maybe a little bit more difficult, a little bit more easy over time?
I think it's gotten harder to keep up in my classes. A lot of times I have trouble like writing down what's on the board or doing like math or writing like the numbers and letters and I
Mm.
get kind of confused. So then I like fall behind when the teacher's talking and I can't write everything down and then I just get really frustrated because I can't keep up.
Mm. Is it like a? Can you talk to me a little bit more about the copying what's on the board? Is it difficulty seeing
Um
or something
yeah,
else?
when I look at the board it just gets all mixed up in my head and
Okay.
I try and write down what's up there and I have trouble copying it down. Like the
Mm-hmm.
letters will get mixed up in my head
Okay.
or the numbers will get mixed up and I'll do the math problem right, but then I had the wrong number, so it turns out wrong.
That sounds really difficult because I know you're putting in a lot of effort to get that work done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the school building itself, the school rooms, um, where do you sit in the classrooms typically?
Um, I'm kind of close to the front on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be in the middle because it
Mm-hmm.
gets really loud in the
Right.
middle and it can be kind of stressful when I'm there, but I like to be able to sit closer to the teacher so that I can hear better.
Right, that makes sense. Are you able to access all the parts of the school building, the lunchroom?
Um, Sometimes it's hard for me in the lunchroom because it's so loud.
Mhm.
So I try and sit like away in like a corner where it might not be so loud because people are always yelling and screaming in there, and it can be it's a lot for me to handle. So sometimes I put in like headphones so I don't have to hear people as much like yelling and screaming.
Right. Yeah, I know I walk by the lunchroom sometimes when it's around noon. It can be pretty loud. So I know you mentioned, I think you mentioned um, some of the more social aspects of school. And can you talk to me about maybe your relationship with your teachers, your peers?
I think they're all right. I think people just treat me differently sometimes, or they get kind of angry with me or upset because sometimes like I answer the questions and I forget to raise my hand, or I just sometimes blurt out answers and people get kind of upset when I do that, but I don't mean to upset them or anything.
Right. With your teachers, do you feel supported by your teachers?
Yeah, I think in my history and science classes, I feel pretty supported because my teachers will give me like some notes beforehand, and that helps me to like write everything down or like get everything down so I can look at it later. But in math and English, it's kind of hard because like it's all based on writing like the words or the numbers. So since I have like a lot of trouble with that, there's not a whole lot. Like even giving me the notes beforehand isn't always super helpful because it still gets mixed up when I'm writing stuff out.
Right. So you do get notes in the math classes still?
Yeah, it's just when I um, when I'm writing out the problems and stuff, even though it's written down, sometimes when I'm writing it out, the numbers will still get mixed up, even though it's still right in front of me.
Right, and that's okay. I know it can be hard. And thank you for talking with me about it. So we've talked a little bit about the classroom. But homework is also a big part of school. So what's your kind of routine around homework?
When I go home, with my sisters, we all try and sit down and do our homework. So we'll do it together in the dining room, and we'll sit and do homework. And sometimes my sister will help me, or one of my moms will help me if I need help. But I don't know. My sister is more helpful than my mom because they haven't been to school in a long time, and so they're not that great with math sometimes, but they're pretty good with English.
That's good. I'm glad you have that support at home. Do you find that you're able to complete your homework?
I try and finish it, but I need, like, my mom's reminds me a lot that I have to do my homework because I'll start it and then I'll get really distracted, or I'll go do something else because I get frustrated, and then I don't always go back and finish it because I'll forget.
Okay, and how often do you think that happens?
Pretty often, and then sometimes I'll do homework for one class, but sometimes I forget I have homework in another class, and I would do it, but I forgot that I had it, so I don't do it.
Right. Think what else? Let's see. Okay, so you take tests in school. So what's that experience like for you?
Um, it's really hard sometimes. Depending on the class, I'm allowed to take my test in a different room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, I can go to a quiet room, like somewhere by myself,
Mm-hmm.
because I get really distracted when I hear people like writing with their pencils or typing on the computers, and it distracts me a lot, and I'm not able to focus. Um, and a lot of times, if the test is like on the computer, it's kind of hard for me to focus on because like the screen and lights is a
Mm-hmm.
lot, and especially if there's other people in the room, then I get really distracted because typing on the computer is really loud. But then
Right.
when I try and take it like with pencil and paper, it's hard for me to write things out fast, so it takes me a really long time to take the tests.
Mm-hmm. And are you usually able to study for your test? Like, do you
Um,
study at home?
I try to. I'm, but I forget sometimes that I have tests coming up
Mm-hmm.
because all my papers are kind of mixed up. So I forget that I have it written down somewhere and it gets lost in my papers. And then I forget I have the test and I don't study for it sometimes. But if the teacher reminds us the day before, then I will sometimes study the night before. But um, but sometimes I need help studying. Like my mom's will make me study sometimes if I tell them I have a test,
Right.
and they'll kind of help me go through my papers and find the kind of stuff that I would need to study. But I try to. I just forget a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you're trying. It's good. It's good to always try. I had a thought. I don't remember what the thought was. Oh, right. So you're in high school, and once you graduate, what do you think the next step might be for you? Like, do you have any ideas on what you might want to be when you grow up, or you
Um,
might want to go?
I don't know. I like science and history a lot, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I could be a scientist or a historian. But I like to learn about those things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably just get like a job or something. But my mom wants me to go to community college. But I don't know if I want to take any more school because I like school, but not that much.
Right.
And it's just hard to keep up. And I don't know if I would be able to keep up if I
Mm-hmm.
went to college. So I don't really know what I want to do, but I like science and history and soccer and video games. So if I could turn that into a job, that'd be cool.
And maybe there's some job we don't know about that we could get you. So,
Ashley doesn't like law school.
like what?
Ashley doesn't like law school.
Okay. So, we talked a little bit about what you like about school. What are some things that you maybe don't like so much about school?
Um, it's just really long. It's a long day at school, and I get really distracted. So a lot of times I don't even get everything that we talk about in class, and I'll get distracted by people walking by the classroom or like whispering or fiddling with stuff in class, and it's really distracting for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really hard for me to focus and pay attention, and then when I can pay attention, it's hard for me to keep up sometimes, and it just gets really frustrating, and I don't want to try sometimes because it's a lot to do, and it's just really exhausting to like try really hard all day, and then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't get anything accomplished anyways.
Right. Have you have you and your teachers tried anything in the past to kind of deal with the more challenging parts of school?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes my teacher will try and put me in like a certain spot where I can like focus better, like I was talking about, like right in the front, so that I can see better, and like I have to focus more on her rather than like looking out the window or looking at my classmates. So being in the front is kind of helpful sometimes, but it depends on the class too, because some classes that have like a lot of group work or where we have like a lot of talking, it's still distracting and hard for me anyways to like look around and hear people talking from all around behind me is kind of hard.
Sure.
And I don't like walking in the halls sometimes, like in between classes and like with the bells. It can be really loud and just like startling and for me and overwhelming when I'm like walking through the halls and everyone's talking and laughing and being loud, and I just want to be quiet. So sometimes I'll walk through the halls with headphones in, but then I think people don't want to talk to me because I have headphones in.
Right. Do you find that those strategies are helpful? Helping you to be able to focus?
Yeah, the headphones help me a lot when it's loud, but I can't put those in the classroom because the teachers will yell at us if we have headphones in. But that helps when in like loud spaces like the lunchroom and in the hallways. Sitting in front does help because there's less to look at around the classroom, but again, it's hard if people are behind me talking, because then I have to like try and find where they are, and it's just hard to focus when they're talking behind me. But it does help me focus better on the teacher, so that's good.
Okay. And have you guys tried anything that maybe didn't work out so much? It's okay if there's nothing.
Well, I mean, like we did try, like the notes for English and math, like it helps some, but not that much, just because I have like trouble like following them in those subjects more. Whereas like in my history and science, like it's not as in depth, like it kind of has bullet points and it's easier to follow, whereas in English, like the whole thing is English, so it's written. It's a lot of words and like written out a lot, and that is hard to follow more for me than when I look at like a bullet point list or like slides from like a history class or my science class. And math, again, like it definitely helps not having to look back and forth at the board and write it down, but I still will mix up the numbers sometimes. So I mean, they help, but it doesn't like completely help all the way.
Sure, so it could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does help. It's just not perfect
yet. It's a work in progress. Well, I think that just about wraps up our little discussion. Do you have any questions for me or anything else that you want to talk to me about before we go back to class?
No, I think my mom's just telling me that I need to be more organized, and that they said that would help me with my school, so maybe we could work on doing some organizing too.
Sure.
So to help with
that's
my
what I'm
classes.
here for, to help you be successful, so we can do that too. Okay. A little bit. But I think next time we're going to be doing, we're doing a little bit more of an interview, I think, next time. But we're just going to be talking again next time. So you don't have to worry about bringing anything. Just bring yourself, and we can talk again if you want.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's head back to class.
Okay.